It felt good to get some progress. We've been delayed as long as they could possibly delay us. Um, I'm ready. I'm ready for this to go on and lay out the case and let the community see what the evidence is. And then, let the cards fly where they're going to go. There's been a lot of weird processes, things that were done in a way that for there to help everybody and help the witnesses, the surviving witnesses. But I'm just ready for the normal court process and normal justice, and just get back to what we kind of learned in school, and that's what I want to see. I want to see just lay it out, transparency. Everybody gets to see what their evidence is, what our evidence is, and then we let the jury members decide what's going to be real. Well, I know he wants to be an active participant in the process, so that kind of changes it for me. Before, he was just somebody that was dragged into a court that was probably surprised to be there. Now he's an active participant, and to me, it's I'm a competitive person, so I'm like, all right, it's on, it's us versus them, and we're gonna lay this evidence out, and we're gonna go from there. The girls struggle. The girls have a harder time with it, and it takes weeks for us to just like talk it through, and maybe watch a couple movies, do a couple different things, like some family gatherings. The girls are very much, I don't let this guy mess with my emotions, but the girls, that's just the way it is, and I don't fight it. I just understand that they have a different way of processing pain and this anguish. So then we just work together and support them. And, it's just one day at a time. And some days are tougher than others, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. We're working with members of the government in Idaho. We're trying to establish that you just can't hunt our babies. You just can't come to our state and hurt our people. It's unacceptable. We're a small state, but you're going to see how strong we are and how big we are when you mess with us. And we're going to put our foot down, and we're going to show the world, we hate all the bad things that are happening, but here in Idaho, we can control one thing, and you just can't hunt our babies down. That's just too much. It's just too much. We can't sit here and say, oh, there was 5 victims or 6 victims or 7 victims. Then you go for the death penalty. No, it's been crossed. The line's been crossed, and we're going to go there. I'm just one family, and they've made that very clear. What you want, Steve, is just what you want. I'm trying to organize different families so we have one united voice, but that's not easy. But that's what we're working towards. And I know there's other families that feel like I do, but we don't want to get too washed up in the revenge factor. We want to remember these girls. We want to remember Ethan, and we want to make sure that when this is all said and done, that's the only people you think of. We want the defendant to just disappear, and all we remember is the beautiful lives that these people had. And then that's the best that we can do. All this media, all the stuff we're doing is so what we remember the victims and we forget who did this crime, which is very uncommon. Normally, we just talk about the person who does this crime. We'd like to turn that on its head, forget about him, and just remember these beautiful young souls.
Procedurally, everything was in line with what he had the right to do. He could have took the stand in silence or plead not guilty or guilty. I think it was a surprise to everyone that he didn't technically enter a plea by saying not guilty. That being said, every right to follow that process. The trial setting that they put today, the likelihood of that going I don't know. I don't think it's likely that we'll have a trial in October. That being said, it's within his speedy trial rights, and if he doesn't waive his speedy trial rights within that time frame, after that time frame, the judge can still extend it by finding good cause to extend the trial. So it's not completely up to Mr. Kohberger as far as when the trial is set. It can be extended by the judge if he finds good cause to extend the trial date. Mind you, the state would, if the defense doesn't want to waive the speedy trial, the state would have to ask for it in some way. They would have to give a basis for it, and the judge could either extend, they might ask for 2 weeks, or they might ask for a month or 6 months. And they might ask for 6 months and only get 3 months. It's really up to the judge to determine what is fair, because obviously you always want to have a fairness for the defense counsel and the defendant in the case that's being charged, but there's a level of fairness in the state's case. Let's say there's some unavailability issues that come up with some critical witnesses in the state's case. Then they could always ask for a reset, and the judge could possibly and most likely would find good cause if that was the case, because it would compromise the state's case in some way if they didn't have their critical witnesses there, maybe a lead investigator or the coroner, or there's all kinds of things that can happen, but it's normally not extended out for years, right? It would be a short request, short time frame request for to extend it past that date. So.